Now, in major countries across the world, a majority of the population is paying close attention to the events in Ukraine. But a study found that fewer Malaysians follow stories about the war than peers in other Asian countries, such as Japan, India, and South Korea. According to a survey by IPSOS, 59% of Malaysians say the war is none of our business. Associate Director of IPSOS, Lars Erik says, although Malaysia is situated far from Ukraine, it will not be spared from the domino effects of the war.
We're living in a very globalized world. Big events like this, they can have a significant knock-on effect, either immediately or down the road. So we already see that the war has created more uncertainty in the energy markets with prices on oil and gas spiking, and also disruptions in the trade of commodities and so on, with grains, etc. So it's hitting regions in the world pretty hard, even if it's far from Europe. So the knock-on effects that this have in a global economy, with global supply chains, it will have implications for everyone, and for Malaysians as well, of course. So I think in this day and age, whether we like it or not, when you have major events like this, even if it's confined to Ukraine in a geographical sense, no one is really isolated from its impacts.
Malaysia voted to support a United Nations resolution to end Russian aggression in Ukraine, but had refrained from imposing sanctions on Russia.
I think it's also related somehow to how Malaysia sees itself as a country. So Malaysia have a tradition of neutrality and to address international issues via dialogue rather than taking very stern action. So this goes a long way back, being a member of the non-alignment movement, going all the way back to the Cold War. And we also see this in the relations Malaysia have with its neighbors, which is peaceful, including via ASEAN. It's very focused on dialogue and non-interference. So this sentiment is reflected in our survey as well. So 59% of Malaysians agree that the problems with Ukraine are basically none of our business and we should not interfere, which is much higher than basically all the other countries we surveyed. However, I think it also have another dimension to it. So we are just coming out of the COVID crisis, right? There's many issues that need to be addressed at home to ensure a recovery from the pandemic. And I think many Malaysians feel that this should really be the focus right now. So in our survey as well, 80% of Malaysians are saying that, given the current economic crisis, the country cannot afford to lend financial support to Ukraine.